Welcome, mercenaries. It's Osama. Welcome back to the Syndicate. So today we're going to do a part 2 on buying long-range scopes and what to look for and different options for budget tiers, or in this price tier that we're doing for brother citizen to a citizen. So let's get back into it, mercenaries. So for this video, I'm going to cover, like I said, some more scopes that are 1,000 and below, that are new, that could be had, and scopes that are used that are above 1,000, between, we'll say, 1,000 and 1,500 tops. And I usually probably won't hit nothing that's on the top 15, like close to 15, but you know, if you do want to pony up the extra few dollars to get a good piece of glass, you know, this is the 3 options I have for you today, along with the 3 options of 3 new scopes for 1,000 and below. We're also going to convert MOA to mils and mils to MOA. So be prepared to do your conversion, whether you're a mil shooter helping an MOA or MOA helping a mil shooter. Like I say, brothers, we're going to go over a few more objectives. So we're going to do objective lens size, tube diameter, and parallax adjustment. So stand by, mercenaries, and get your pen and paper ready, because class is in session here in the briefing room. All right, let's get into it, mercenaries. I wish I had me a little stick where I could feel like I'm a teacher, but you know, I don't talk to children, so I'm talking to grown adults. So we have right here, and this is how you figure out your adjustment at 100 yards, mercenaries. So if you're like me and you're a mil shooter, 1/10 of a mil equals 1 centimeter at 100 yards. So for every click out of the 1/10 is a centimeter at 100 yards. So when you're doing your 100 yard zero, every 1/10 of a mil is 1 centimeter, and a whole mil is basically 10 centimeters. Now, if you're going over here, and if you're an MOA shooter, I basically just use quarter MOA, because that's what most MOA scopes are that are readily available. Quarter MOA is basically a 1/4 inch, and I know I didn't put inch there. Let me see if I can adjust that. All right, mercenaries. Quarter MOA is a 1/4 inch at 100 yards. So just think about like a pie. So if I have a quarter, that's 25%, or a 1/4 of a mil, 1/2 of a mil, 3/4 mil, or excuse me, MOA, moving too fast. So 1/4 MOA, 1/2 MOA, 3/4 MOA, whole MOA is 1 inch at 100 yards. So keep that in mind. 1/10 of a mil is a centimeter at 100. 1/4 MOA is a 1/4 inch at 100. All right. Now, for those who are helping people do a conversion of figuring out if someone's dope is an MOA dope going to a mil dope, or a mil dope going to an MOA, and I know when I say dope, I don't want nobody thinking about drugs. So let's go ahead and do this right here. Okay, I know it wasn't the best idea, but DOPE, D-O-P-E, data on previous engagement. And now remember, mercenaries, you have to be shooting the same cartridge at the same speed in order for these values to work. Or, like I say, depending on, even if it's at the same cartridge, maybe the same velocity for these to work. So with me being a 6.5 Creedmoor shooter, and I'm shooting 147 grain Hornady ELD-M, which is a match grade bullet, we'll just say my dope at 600 is 3.5 mils. And if I want to turn that into basically MOA, that'll be about 11 MOA. if I'm just doing fast math. Really, it's probably 10, but we'll just give or take plus or minus 0.5. So that's basically going from mils to MOA, is that you times whatever the mil dope is times 3.5 will give you your MOA dope. And if you're helping someone who's a mil shooter in your MOA, what you do is take that MOA and divide it by 3.5, and that will give you the mil-radian adjustment. Okay? So remember, anytime you're going from mils to MOA, you multiply. When you're going from MOA to mils, you divide. All right, objective lens. So that is the front glass on your rifle scope that's closest to the muzzle. Now that makes a great amount of difference in picture clarity, image clarity. So I will always recommend going with a 56 millimeter objective lens, even though there are some 50s out there that work just as good as the 56. Like I say, the 6 millimeters, you know, doesn't make much of a adjustment in the image quality, but it does help bring in more light. So remember, more light gives you a brighter picture, and bigger objective lens usually equals less chromatic aberration. So for those who don't know what chromatic aberration is, I wish I was good enough and I wasn't here at the POE, that's a place of employment, where I could show in a picture of a scope that has chromatic aberration versus a scope that doesn't have it, and where does it usually happen. So chromatic aberration happens in the middle of the circle of the objective on the lens, in the center. You could look at something, maybe would use for an example a piece of steel that might be hanging from a tree that you shoot. Maybe you're shooting up on a mountain and you're shooting at a target that's hanging off a tree. Depending on the angle of where the sun is hitting off of that, it could give off a little slight discoloration, and your scope will picture it, and it'll have like a bluish or purple hue on the edge corner. Like we'll say like right in here, it'll have like a little bluish purplish hue, and that will be chromatic aberration. Chromatic aberration could happen on the edges of your scope. You know, that all entails of you having good quality optics. So higher tier glass, $2,000 and above, usually don't have those issues. Is when you have cheaper glasses where chromatic aberration, you know, tends to have a slight effect on your optics. So objective lens, I always go with 56 millimeter. Some you know, nice rifle scopes are 50 millimeter objective, but I will never go to a 44 millimeter objective lens. That's just me personally. But we're short on time, so I'm gonna move on pretty fast. Tube diameter. That's the diameter tube of the erector, which holds your elevation and windage turret adjustments, which moves your picture in the scope when you're dialing. So the popular size is 34 millimeters, which is greater than an inch diameter tube diameter. And when you have a bigger tube diameter, you usually, and I'm talking about usually, is more than 70% of the time, you will have a higher elevation turret dialing capabilities. But now that also takes into effect of your magnification range. So like I said in the last video, when you go into higher magnification, your tube, you know, tends to get a little darker, distorted picture when you're viewing through it, because of the lenses that it has to go through to give you the magnification and how they align. So same thing with tube diameter. When you're dialing, sometimes when you're in the higher echelon of your dialing, we'll say like 28 mils, 30 mils, 32 mils, depending on your scope, that can also have an effect on your sight picture also, to where the picture can get darker because the tube was made to be level like this, but when you dial, it shifts up into the erector tube and it affects your picture when you're dialing. So some people, after they get to a certain point of dialing, They will just hold in the reticle the remainder of what their dope is to achieve their shot. Quick thing on that, but like I say, 30 millimeter tubes are popular. I know some of the Citron scopes here may not be listed here, but some of the Citron scopes have 56 millimeter objective lenses, but they have 30 millimeter tubes. So be cautious of that. Okay? Parallax adjustment. Very, very big in precision rifle shooting. So with parallax adjustment is what they call a side focus. So, and you can take this with a grain of salt, mercenaries, but it's only one company that I know offhand to where their parallax adjustment numbers are true to the distance downrange, and that's Kahles. Kahles. Let me see if I can put it in here somewhere so y'all can see it. Kahles, one of the first original rifle scope manufacturers in the world, world renowned. Kahles is owned by Swarovski, so both of them are out of Austria. Great companies there. Kahles, founded by Carl Kahles, name known around the world when it comes to rifle scopes. And like I said, they're one companies that I know that is true with their parallax adjustment to the distance that's marked on the parallax knob or the spinner, depending on which one you have, because theirs is not usually on the left side of the tube. The ring is on this little parallax adjustment ring is on the elevation turret, and those the only company I know that has it true to distance. But you have some people whose parallax goes down very close to maybe 10 yards. And you have some who start at 25 yards. And you have some people who go in different increments. Distance could be 100, 200, 300, 500, 800, and then they'll go to infinity. Then you have some, I'll just use this for an example, the Athlon Cronus BTR series goes from 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 8, and it goes to 15 or 1600, then it goes to infinity. Now sometimes those numbers can be skewed, so don't always trust thinking that, oh, okay, well, if I dial it, if I want to shoot 1600, let me put it on 1600 parallax. Because most of the time it'll just probably maybe get you out to 1000 or 1200 before you have to go to infinity and probably try your luck there. But moving on time here, we're going to figure out some more scopes to put out on the price point here. So far below 1000, the ever famous Arken Optics EP5 5 to 25 is a good contender for under 600 bucks. I want to say at one time, if you use Texas Plinking's code with the Arken, you got the little kit that comes with the scope mount, scope bubble level, and something else for like $600 or $700, and you can't really beat that, to give you everything out the box. Riton is a veteran-owned company. One of my local gun shop stores, the owner was a military vet himself, so he, was big on carrying, other veteran-created companies' products. So he was a Riton distributor, and I personally don't have any experience with the Arken, the Riton, or the Element brand, but I will tell you this, that they are good scopes for the money. Element is fairly new. I want to say they're across seas. Can't tell you where, but another one I'm going to mention next time is a company out of Poland, and they make great optics for the money. Best bang for your buck, and those will probably be more in the 1,000 or above category. But these three here are great. I want to say this is right at $1,000, the Element Titan, and so is the Riton 5 Conqueror. So it's the Riton 5 Conqueror 5 to 25, Element Titan 5 to 25, and these can be had in both MOA or mils. Go up here to the 1,000 or above. Citron here is a well-known company in the precision rifle world. They make great scopes for the money. Very great scopes, great glass. Scopes track, excellent. Great warranty if you ever had to use it. And the Citron 3 Precision Long Range is an 8-32 magnification. Citron S6 5-30, and the Burris XTR3 5.5-30, all well over $1,200. And these can be used and new depending on where you're going. Some people selling them for dirt cheap, or maybe just at dealer's cost just to get rid of them, and some people, you know, selling them good price used. All right, well, that's the video for today. I have some more options for you on the next video, part 3. So, all right, citizen to a citizen. Hopefully this will give you a little bit more options to choose from. And hopefully you told me, well, you already told me that you shot out to about 500, 600 yards, but figure out what was that ammo that you were shooting and how did it fare with your rifle. Because if that's some good ammo and you like and could get it for a good deal, stock up on it, brother. Stock up on it. All right, mercenaries. It's Osama. Out.